You're listening to the LONGBOX CRUSADE podcast episode 49 featuring Thunderbolts 109, cover dated February 2007. Hello and welcome to the 49th episode of the LONGBOX CRUSADE. I am your host, Delvin Williams. You can call me Dark Web. The LONGBOX CRUSADE is a podcast where each episode, a random cover month and year is chosen, and then an issue is selected from one of the LONGBOX CRUSADE's crew members' comic collection. Each episode, we will summarize, review, and reminisce about the issue, ads, and events of that time period. Joining me for this episode is the original LBC crew that you know and love, and they're going to be telling me their current crusade in 10 words or less. We're going to start, you know what? I'm switching it up. Screw the order. We're going with Jason Albrecht. We call him the Weasel Skull, and he's going to tell us his current crusade in 10 words or less. Jason, go.
Went to Grit City Comic Con.
That's 5. Uh-oh.
G.I. Joe. Indy.
G.I. Joe is not one word. Jared's giving you the thumbs up, though.
It accomplished the spirit of the whole 10 words or less thing.
He was counting on his fingers, and he said G.I. Joe and just held up one finger like, hold on.
So I got away with it. I could have just said Joe. Got Joe, Indy, Avengers.
There
we go.
You basically did. I didn't have the gong set up behind me, and so I can go up. So it's okay. It's all good. Thank you for that, Jason. I know you're surprised. You're like, what the heck? I don't normally go first, but it's okay. I'm hosting. I don't normally host this thing, so it's crazy all of a sudden. Next up is the founder of the LONGBOX CRUSADE. His name is Pat Sampson. Sometimes we call him DJ Christatos, and he's going to tell us his current crusade in 10 words or less. Pat, go.
Catching them all in Pokemon trading card game Pocket. Come find me and be my friend.
Last, but certainly not least, our fearless leader, his name is Jared Albrecht. Sometimes we call him the yard sale artist, sometimes Death Pro, sometimes Hot Nuts. In any event, 10 words or less, he's going to tell us his current crusade.
Cleaning and organizing my garage.
I've seen that garage, man. That is a crusade.
You would not believe it if you saw it right now. You'd be like, what the what? There's 2 cars in there, Jason. 2 cars.
Like, some people have like Miranda and I, our garage, we put both of our cars in there. We don't store stuff, not a whole bunch in there. But some people use their garage for storage, and then they put their cars outside, in basically the carport or the driveway. I don't know. I'm curious. And since this is LONGBOX CRUSADE, we can indulge. Pat, how do you do your garage? Do you park your cars in the garage, or are you out of the garage?
Well, Delvin, I'm glad you asked. I actually like to park my vehicles in the garage, and just to segue us a little bit more, we are actually just built a brand new garage from the 20-some years that it's probably over 20-some years. The house was probably way over 20-some years that we just now have a brand new garage and a brand new driveway. So it's nice to put 2 vehicles in there.
That's how he lost his internet connection, if I remember correctly.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Yep. I lost my internet connection because someone cut the fiber when they were digging up the cement.
Yeah, apparently he thought that your internet, cable was vintage and kind of forgotten because he digged it up.
Yep.
See what I did there?
Yeah. Yes, I did.
So, Jason, I don't want to leave you out. Do you have a garage situation? And if you do you park your car in the garage?
I do have a garage situation. It's a standalone garage, one car, and I do not park my car in there. I keep my car parked in the driveway.
Gotcha. And Jared, is your new plan now to park both cars in the garage?
It is. It is. For the last 17 years, I think we've lived here. It's been just one car in the garage, one car out of the garage, and half of it just full of boxes and eBay kind of stuff. But I've cleaned, I've organized, I've got rid of things, and now we have two cars.
You know, Delvin, what you would say is either you're parking in the garage or you're not parking in the garage.
Either in the garage or out of garage, like it one or the other. I absolutely agree with you, Pat. No one asked me about my crusade, but I'm going to give it anyway. Go ahead.
Delvin, what has been your crusade since we last met?
Man, that was so kind and considerate of you, Jason. Thank you. 10 words or less. Let's see. Last day of a 4-day podcast bender. I have had a unique set of days where, like, you looked at the calendar, and on Sunday I was along with the crew for a Amazing Spider-Man Chronicles, and then this Monday I recorded Transformers Chronicles 54, and then this Tuesday did Come Out to Play episode 45, and today I'm doing Longbox Crusade episode 98. Apparently, that's what was in the script. Longbox Crusade 98, and so 3 of those days I even got to host. So I'm like, oh my goodness, like I'm going to go and I'm going to sleep asleep. And tomorrow, I don't even know what I'm going to do. I might just come to the computer, put on my headphones and just talk to myself. I don't know what to do with my hands. In any event, thank you all for indulging me. And for everyone else, we invite you to be a part of the show by submitting your comments and memories, which will be featured on a future show. Reach out to us on Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube at Longbox Crusade. And you can always leave a voicemail at 707-532-5269. We hope you come along with us on this crusade to read them all. Now, before we get started with this episode review, let's take a quick podcast promo break. We will be right back.
Back in 1940, 8 sensational heroes united to create the world's very first superhero team, the Justice Society of America. Now, 85 years later, we're gathering podcasters and bloggers from around the globe for a month-long celebration in an event we're calling JS April. Throughout April 2025, join dozens of content creators as they each share their own unique tributes to the original and greatest superhero team, including all-star podcasters and bloggers like
Justice Society presents
the Longbox Crusade podcast,
Campus Comics Cast,
Supergirl Comic Box Commentary,
the Quarter Bin Podcast,
the Bat Pod,
the Earth 2 Podcast,
FW Team Up,
Diana Prince is the new Wonder Woman,
Fanholes Podcast,
Back to the Bins,
Coffee and Comics,
the Huntress Podcast,
*51.blogspot.com,
Justice Society Origins, a part of John Reed's Comics,
DC Special Cast,
Between the Pages blog,
The Outcasters, a Batman and the Outsiders podcast,
A World on Fire, an All-Star Squadron podcast,
JLA Stories and Friends,
The Monitor Tapes,
a Crisis on Infinite Earths podcast,
Lords of Order, a DC's Dr. Fate fan podcast,
David M. Gallagher at Medium.com,
JSA in the 90s,
Justice League Legacies,
DC Secret Files podcast,
Mike's Geek World,
Pop Culture Affidavit,
the Source Material Comics podcast,
That Giffen Show,
Worst Collection Ever,
The Fantastic Four.
It all comes back to Superman.
And that's just some of the podcasters and bloggers who'll be joining in the celebration. Get ready for a thrilling month of beloved characters, fascinating insights, and incredible stories. Follow the action on social media with the hashtag JSApril, and visit our website for a complete list of participating podcasters, bloggers, and what they're each covering at fireandwaterpodcast.com/JSApril.
Welcome back from the break. Today's adventure from the Long Box is Thunderbolts 109, cover dated February 2007. Just in case you were wondering how the heck I found this out, I have a comic book app called CLZ that stores all of my comic books. And I saw this thing on the CLZ page that I've been a member on Facebook forever and a day. And they have this thing called Shake Your CLZ. And sure enough, you can just go to the app and shake it. And it just pops up a random comic book. And so I shook it 5 times. And the 5th one was Thunderbolts 109. Shake that Z-O-Z-O-Z. Shake that C-O-Z. Come on now, shake that C-O-Z. See, I knew you. I knew you were coming. I'm not even
Come on, shake it. Come on, shake it.
All right, before I get us too off track, I'll read the cover credits or the credits for this issue. Thunderbolts 109, the publisher is Marvel. Cover date February 2007, but its on sale date was December 20th, 2006. Cover price $2.99. The editor was Molly Laser. The writer was Fabian Nicieza. The penciler Tom Gromit. The inker Gary Erskine. The letterer Albert W. Duchesne, and the colorist was James Brown. I feel good. Reprinted in Thunderbolts Guardians Protocols trade paperback in 2007, and the Thunderbolts Omnibus Volume 3 hardcover in 2023. Cover credits go to Tom Gromit and Gary Erskine, and Jared is now going to give us a cover description.
Yes, indeed. The minimalist Marvel logo is the red one with the white letters. The Thunderbolts logo is orange with black highlights, and the main action depicts a headshot of a female member of the Thunderbolts that Delvin might remember. I mean, I think she looks like Nicole Kidman, so my best guess at her hero name, Kidman. All right. So it's something of a symbolic cover as for various other female heroes, or it could be versions of her. I'm not sure. They all tug and pull at her face and hair, causing the larger Kidman to scream.
This is Moonstone. I don't know what original villain she was, and I wish at this time that we had the audience that we normally have to come out to play, because they know everything apparently. She was, I think, maybe a Hulk villain, but don't hold me to that. But she was one of the original Thunderbolts, and if anyone remembers the premise of the original Thunderbolts, they were the masters of evil disguised as brand new superheroes in the aftermath of the Heroes Reborn storyline. You remember when Onslaught took all the heroes to another universe, basically all the main ones, and so the Thunderbolts took their place as the superheroes, but they were actually the masters of evil. And she yeah, exactly. And she was the character, her name was Moonstone. Carla Sofin, I believe her name is, but I think I can get to that in the synopsis. Anyway, we should talk about what we thought about.
I'm sorry. I Googled it real quick. You're right. Her name is Carla Sofin. She's also known as Meteorite, and apparently she did a stint as Ms. Marvel.
Okay. There you go. I appreciate that. Thank you. Since you're off mute, Jared, why don't you tell us what you think about the cover?
Symbolic cover, not a literal cover. So are all four of the females that are sort of like pulling her in different directions, is that the other girl that she was trapped in the crystal?
No. These are other versions of
her. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So this is sort of like her being tugged in lots of different directions and obviously being pained about it. And, as far as a symbolic cover goes, I think it's pretty good. I mean, Tom Gromit, great artist. I want to say he did a big run on Superboy, which is why I know him. Yes, Delvin's nodding. And
correct.
The dude is just a great penciler. It shows up here. Definitely a testament to his all-round skill, because you're seeing that he can draw the female form really well. It's very sexy and athletic. And it's quite the zoom in on the face. So he's got to do good facial feature expressions, and it's all great. So yeah, he did a real good job. I know we don't rate stuff here. It's more of a discussion. So 4 out of 5.
I appreciate that non-rating, Jared. And we will pass it on to Pat. Pat, what do you think about the cover?
I agree with Jared on this one. I do like the art detail that's being done, especially on the face. You can definitely see the anguish that she's going through. Even some like where one of the forms of the bodies are just kind of dragging across her nose area that way, and you can just see that marks being done onto her face. And I didn't know who these other 4 women were that were kind of around her, so I'm glad you mentioned that, which makes it a little bit more understanding as you look at it as well. Yeah, it's not a bad cover. I would have to say I don't know a lot about the Thunderbolts, so it should be interesting. Was it always did the title always have the Justice Like Lightning? I don't.
Yes, it did. That's something that's from the original. I can tell you, I was a big fan of the Thunderbolts and collected it for quite some time. It's had several iterations. And the original run was Kurt Busiek and Mark Bagley. And as y'all know, big Mark Bagley fan here. So I was like, okay, I'm on board. I didn't even know what it was about. I was like, Bagley's drawing it, I'm buying it. So that's why I just stayed on it, even long after Bagley stayed off of it, because I thought it was an intriguing concept.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And like Jared, you know, since we don't do ratings at all, I think he's right. I'm going to rate this probably about a 7 out of 10 flag points.
Okay. Ignoring that, you know, since we don't rate, but we got a comment. Why do we have a comment? Because I'm glad you asked. Our Crusaders Club is listening in on this conversation live. And you can come and do that too. If you want to join our Crusaders Club, come find us on Patreon at LONGBOX CRUSADE, and you can join us at only $1 a month. I mean, how cheap is that? It's very cheap. I'll answer the question for you. AU Kathy, 2418. We call her the MVP. Her name is Kathy Bright. She's an awesome person. She says, I agree. The art is nice. I would like a bit more contrast as the colors of the main face and the smaller females. She was just a little bit critiqued, but she likes the cover overall. And we will now pass it to Jason. Oh, one more comment. Mark Ross says the art is really nice. Now we will pass it to Jason.
I agree with the other fellas said. I like the position of the face, and it is really hard to draw emotion on a face. I did take an art class where I was focused on facial features, and I could never get my facial features to reflect the emotion I was intending them to evoke. So I am really impressed. I know how hard that is. And, you know, I kind of agree with Kathy. It is a lot of yellow and orange. That is kind of the color scheme of her character, though, I think. So kind of makes sense. And I guess the only other thing that I'll add is they make a lot of good use of the space on the cover. There's not a lot of wasted space. And I like how the large head is just a little bit covering the Thunderbolts. Just a nice little artistic touch there. So good use of space. And yeah, I mean, I know we're not scoring it, but yeah, 4 sounds about right for me. Flag points.
I swear.
Don't you mean the tech specs that we use for?
Yeah, or Energon cubes or whatever you're using, Transformers. Yeah,
those two is not me.
You did it too, Jared. You started this. Any event, I'm going to say what I think about the cover. It's not bad. I mean, it's Tom Grummett. Tom Grummett's, he's a pro's pro. And his art, he has that distinctive style. And then, out of thousands of comic book artists that have been around at this point, I think if I saw something that's drawn by Tom Grummett, I could be like, I'm pretty sure I know who that is. That's Tom Grummett. And that says something. He has a distinctive style, and it is, in my opinion, perfect for comic books because it's very expressive. It's cartoony, but not to the point of being cartoon-ish. And all of his characters, anatomically correct. And he has women who are beautiful and athletically built. But then, and then he has some guys that, are either scrawny or like not all of the guys are the same. Like, say, in the 90s, for instance, in X-Men, for instance, Cyclops used to be all bulky and muscular. And it's like, that's not Cyclops. Cyclops literally was nicknamed Slim. Like, he's not supposed to be drawn that way. Like, and so if Tom Grummett was drawn
X-Men's name out your mouth. Take the X-Men's name. No, you're right.
I know I am. So, he does good work is what I'm saying. He did good work here. And I'm glad I was able, I knew a little bit about the Thunderbolts to know that, this was kind of a display of personalities thing of like all of the iterations of Moonstone that seemed to be tearing the woman herself apart. So it was a good cover. I give it an 8 out of 10. If I were to rate it, but we don't do that here on LONGBOX CRUSADE. We do not.
Are those 8 out of 10 Trunkians?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. Jared doesn't know what that is, though. So it's nightsticks. It's 8 out of 10 nightsticks or bucket helmets if you so wish. In any event, let's go to the synopsis. The title of this issue was Beyond Redemption. Beats the hell out of me. Okay, I'll try to describe this issue based off of what this issue has provided. The Thunderbolts had to plug up the wellspring of power. I wonder, was this the same wellspring that the New Warriors dealt with? And if it was, why the hell didn't I connect this dot back in 2007? Anyway, and this issue represents the aftermath of all of that. I'm sure it was very exciting. The main action of this issue involved Melissa Gold, Songbird, and Carla Sofin, Moonstone, essentially trapped in the Moonstone itself. Sort of. Let's say they were trapped in the Moonstone. There were a lot of other characters too, and I'm not going to talk about them. The intro page of this book had 12 characters, and I already talked about 2, so that would leave 8, which is too many.
Anybody get Laurel? Need some math real quick.
Carry them.
I think Laurel just does HR, not bad math jokes. In any event, like, we need to figure out, what did people think about this story? And I don't think we started with Jared yet, so we should start with Jared now. What do you think about the story, Jared?
Echoes of the Omicron crystal. Although I think it's a lot easier to swallow that pill if it's already happened and you watch the aftermath than for me to have to watch it happen. Man, Fabian, I'm starting to learn from our New Warriors podcast and how this, like, Fabian, he liked him some Chris Claremont. He really did. He did. I see similarities.
A lot of words.
There's a very Claremontian story, but I still don't think it was as packed with words. You know, it's tough for us to jump in on 109 of a series that I personally have never read an issue of, but I'd never heard a bad word about Thunderbolts. Like, everybody who read it was happy with it. So I came in and went, okay, and it was a confusing thing because it made a lot of assumptions about the reader. Now, it had a little recap page, which surprisingly didn't help a whole heck of a lot. I mean, I read it and I was still like, a lot of it, there was a lot of me flipping back to that page where it did have all the members. So I was sort of cross-referencing, okay, this guy, that guy, this person, that person. And I got the gist of it. So as far as it being a wrap-up after a big event, I think it was pretty good and serviceable. And I kind of pieced together what was going on, but I was confused ultimately. But I mean, it did a decent job. I wasn't mad at it when I was done. You know, we don't score these things, but probably 5 out of 10 fight points.
You know, like, not only was it, 109, which is obviously in the middle of things, but not only was it the end of what was clearly like a storyline that, like, I'm going to guess it took like a year to develop. Like, it took a while to develop this storyline. It was transitioning to an entirely new team. So, like, it was like, because, like, the next issue, like, at the end, it said Warren Ellis and Mike Deodato was coming onto the team. And if I remember, that Thunderbolts was good.
I can imagine Warren Ellis and Mike Deodato's like, that's incredible.
Yeah, Mike can draw his butt off. He's so good. I remember his Hulk. I loved his Hulk. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, like, that's just what the randomizer does. That's what happens when you shake your CLZ. Shake your CLZ. Come on now, shake. Anyway, let's pass it to Jason. Jason, what did you think about it? I mean, do you agree with your brother? Do you not agree with your brother? Tell me about it.
No, I agree with him. Let me start off with where I got to know Thunderbolts, and that's from reading the Avengers, and they crossed over with Thunderbolts once or twice. So I was a little bit familiar with the characters coming in. I believe that Songbird eventually struck up a relationship with Hawkeye at some point in time. I think they might have been an item. So I wasn't totally unfamiliar with everybody. Having said that, if I had picked this book up, if this was going to be the one that hooked me into Thunderbolts, I probably wouldn't have gotten hooked. To be perfectly honest, I mean, the story pretty much focuses on Moonstone and Songbird in the Omicron crystal thingy that Jared mentioned, and I agree. I mean, strong, recollections of that without the cool characters of Wolverine and Cyclops and others, but I wasn't really engaged with that relationship much. And it seemed like that was kind of the intent. Like they're building a foundation of the relationship between these two women that are obviously going to be an integral part to this team. But I was more interested in Dr. Chen, the radioactive man, and I've seen him around a couple times. I think he's also fought the Avengers once or twice, going way back when. And I liked his character. I mean, he was so arrogant, but he obviously had some sort of affection for at least one of the women. I don't remember which one, some friendship. And his character interested me a little bit more. So, yeah, I think at the end, in summary, it wasn't a bad story by any stretch of the imagination, but it's definitely not one that would have pulled me into the universe if this is the one I picked up off the rack to try to dive in.
So I want to add that Moonstone and Songbird, they mention it even. They've been around the Thunderbolts since the beginning. They were two founding members of the Thunderbolts. Because Songbird at one point kind of said, yeah, like we were teammates, but we were never friends. Like they never liked each other. And Songbird even mentioned in the book that probably the reason why is because one thing that Moonstone, she's like a psychiatrist by trade. And so she likes to get into people's heads. That matter of fact, that's how she got her power. She basically manipulated someone into giving her this moonstone of power, which she used to then, become a villainess. And so one of the things that Songbird kind of surmised was, well, she doesn't like me because I see through all of her BS. And in a sense, that's what Carla or Moonstone kind of validated, was like, yeah, I don't like her. And the reason why I don't like her is because she kind of, sees, she can kind of cut through my whole mystique and everything that I have going that usually fools everyone else. She is not easily manipulated by me. Therefore, I don't like her. So I just wanted to add that little bit of history to it. But it also looked like moving forward, they were going to be two of the four members of the team that out of a huge team. I mean, I guess at one point, Fabian had 12 folks on the team. That is a lot of people to juggle. I don't know how he did it. But moving forward, they trimmed it down from 12 to 4, and they looked like they were going to add some more members. So just wanted to give you that little bit of history, Jason. I hope that helped.
Yeah, it did. And I did get that context. I just think, I think like you said, it looked like what they were saying is we had this big team and these two were on it, but now it's down to a core four, and they're going to be, it looks like they're going to be the centerpiece of this core four, and their relationship is starting at a very fractured place. And yet they also have this experience together within the Moonstone or whatever they were in they're gonna build forward from here. I did get the sense that they have some history, but it looked like it was the dynamics are going to change.
Gotcha. I appreciate that, Jason. And I also appreciate you not giving a rating to the book like a rapscallion might do. Amend it, if you would.
I was properly chastised the last time. I learned my lesson.
I appreciate that. I appreciate you listening to my chastisement. We're going to move on. Jared's going to go on mute, definitely. And we're going to move on to Pat. Pat's going to talk about Thunderbolts 109.
Rapscallion's going to be my hip-hop name, just so you know.
Ooh, that sounds good with some butter. Rapscallions and butter. Oh, yeah, I love it. You could be rapscallion, I'll be butter, and it would be like make some
rapscallion and butter.
Making rapscallions.
Oh, yeah. We might have lost the plot.
Sauteed. Ooh. Yummies. Anyway, now I'm hungry. But Thunderbolts.
You did it to yourself, Pat. You did it to yourself.
I know. This was an interesting issue and story, I think. As you mentioned, it's coming down from some bigger event, and then you have some place settings being done. Some final stuff being squared away and just getting the table ready for the next person that's going to sit down at the meal, right? Is kind of what this is. And I didn't know much about Thunderbolts besides I knew that they were a team of villains. And as I was reading through this and some of the storyline that what's happening here reminded me of the Squad. Where it's Suicide Squad. Yeah. Kind of remind me of like the Suicide Squad from a DC angle that's going on here, because you have this Red head girl, or they call her Red or whatever, that sounds like she's part of the government and she's going to build the team again, or or the Thunderbolts eventually became a team of villains that were working their way through, doing what the government wanted them to do. So I thought it was a cool concept, but it was interesting to see how things were playing out on this, and this kind of mind trippy story of two people that didn't really like each other, but in the end they find out that they actually they need each other just to keep them, sharpened and keeping them on the up and up on either sides. And I think going into this next vision of the Thunderbolts, that'll help them along, and you'll see that friendship kind of grow now. The other players in here, I didn't really know anybody besides Zemo, and Hawkeye was in here a little bit, but I'm thinking those are just, mind stuff that obviously weren't the two real guys. So who even knows what's happened to them?
I love the mind stuff. I love it.
Yeah.
Big fan of the mind stuff. That's Jared. And yes, they were figments of the imagination, as it were. Both Hawkeye and Baron Zemo. Apparently, he didn't make an actual appearance in the book, because whatever he did leading up to this issue, it kind of led to his disappearance. It's like he got too power hungry. Surprise, surprise, it's Baron Zemo. Yeah. And Songbird wound up stopping him. And in the result, wound up being trapped in the Moonstone, sort of.
Somehow, yeah. Something happened and there's some other big giant guy. He's big, and he's they can't get him down. Interesting stuff going on. And is it a good place setter for what's to come? Kinda. I guess I'm kind of interested now in what happens with this new team. It's like you just came in at the end of a season, and now, tomorrow we're going to start you with this new show, and here's where things continue on. So I think I got a little interest in this. Not a bad jumping on point, I guess. I'm assuming in the next issue, they'll go over the whole, here's what it was, here's where we're going, and a better jumping on point. But at least you got the gist of what got them there to this point in this one. And which is kind of the beauty of what we do with this Longbox Crusade is, like you said, you just shake it up and here's what you get. And we talk about it, which maybe, would we have ever talked about the Thunderbolts? Maybe, but it was definitely worth bringing to the table here.
I want to read a comment very quick from Mark Rawson, who's in the chat. And he says, okay, now I get this book. Mark's more of a DC guy. And he says, with the comparison to the Suicide Squad, he kind of understood it. And again, like I mentioned, Thunderbolts at the start, they appeared to be good guys, but they were actually bad guys. And then as they started doing more heroic deeds, they sort of some of them got bit with the heroism bug. It's like, okay, I kind of like being a hero and actually being on this side of the law and not having people chase us. And so that's kind of led to the initial schism of the team, where some of the bad guys wanted to be bad still, and some of the former bad guys wanted to actually go straight. So that's what started the initial thing. And then eventually, yes, the Thunderbolts did become sort of like the Suicide Squad, where they were, pulling them from the vault and giving them a chance at redemption. So the Thunderbolts have had several iterations. I was telling Jared, the initial run, I think he said it went about 83 issues or something like that. And for a quick time, I need to look it up. It did some weird pro wrestling type story, and then they canceled it out altogether. Then they started it back, and ever since then, it's kind of had that same run of villains looking for redemption type thing. Sort of like Suicide Squad, but not quite, because there's never really an Amanda Waller, but there was a Hawkeye. And Hawkeye came on board, and if you guys remember anything about Avengers history, Hawkeye used to be a bad guy. And so he was seen as the perfect person to help come in and continue the reformation of a lot of these characters. And, success may vary. He got caught up a little bit with Moonstone, but he was pretty successful with Songbird, for instance, and Atlas as well, the big guy, and possibly Fixer and Mach 1 as well, two of the other characters. So anyways, Thunderbolts have been around for a while. I collected it for a while. I have not collected the last iteration or two of it, but it is an intriguing series to pick up. And I'm pretty sure some of those earlier issues you can probably find in some dollar bins somewhere. Very good issue. And thank you all for your comments. Thank you so much. I want to ask very quickly, though, what did you think about the story art? Let's start with our resident artist himself, Jared, and see what he thinks.
Oh, it's Tom Grummett, man. So it's good stuff all the way through. The only challenge that I found really was how similar looking Songbird and Moonstone are. So, and being trapped in a crystal for the longest time, I was like, wait, is this the same person facing themselves? No. I go back to that page in front. Okay, there's two separate people. So, and so that was the only challenge. Now that I go back and look at it, costumes and hairstyles help a lot. That's my most minor of picadillos. The colorist on this, who had a famous name, James Brown. James Brown, the godfather of soul himself, colored the heck out of this book. It looks great. It looks fantastic. I'm a homer for Tom Grummett because of the Superboy days. So yeah, it's great, and I'll leave plenty for other people to say. You have me intrigued, though. I know we've already kind of talked about the story, but you broke down sort of the basics, and it's a very intriguing concept of these villains that are being nefarious. And then I think a great tagline would have been, you can't take over the world if there's not a world to take over. So they have to protect the world from all these things so that they can have it. But they get used to protecting it is what it sounds like. That's a great concept.
Let's go to Pat. Pat, what do you think about the art, man?
Yeah, I agree with Jared on this one. The Tom Grummett art in this is very nice. It's not that super realistic. It's got that cartoony kind of vibe, and that might be some of the coloring that's being done too by Mr. James Brown himself when he would come in and out of the hot tub, because sometimes it's hot, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's too hot, so he had to come out and do some coloring. But I really appreciate it, and the panels, the setups of the pages, the layouts, I think helped to move the story along as well. Really fun, and I had a good time reading through it, and the artwork helped relay the story.
Jason.
I agree. I think this is fantastic art. I think the art is the strength of this book, of this particular issue anyway, in my opinion. And as I was flipping through this, there's a lot that he penciled. We've got interiors with a lot of complex machinery, computer monitors. We've got exteriors in this moonstone scape. So you've got kind of this universal background. We've got action sequences that look very kinetic, where they're punching each other, and it looks good. The layouts are perfect. There's no wasted space. We've got close-ups. We've got I'm looking at this picture of Atlas laying flat, and then you've got helicopters that are around him to kind of give perspective to how big he is. So just really clever ways that the artist lays out a lot of stuff. And these characters all have different costumes. And I'm looking at Dr. Chen, and Pat mentioned the colors. I love how his dialogue boxes are colored green. And he looks like he's glowing off the page. So just beautifully rendered, really good art.
I'm going to make that 4 for 4. I absolutely agree. Again, like I mentioned, Tom Grummett is a professional's professional. You can tell it. You can almost tell when an artist enjoys the book, and you can tell he enjoyed drawing these characters and had a love and affection for all of them. Kind of took them in on his own. So I greatly appreciate that. We're talking about art. We're going to let Jared take away. Before we get to Jared, one more comment from Mark Ross, who says that he agrees that the coloring was very rich. So it looks like we might be slowly pulling Mark Ross into the world of the Thunderbolts too. He might be going some dollar bin diving. So maybe we intrigued at least one person. So we're doing our job here on the LBC. Now Jared's about to do his job.
You got that right. Let's talk about our favorite page of art in the book. So if we're rolling down the con floor and Tom Grummett's there and he says, hey, I got every page here. You guys can have one. Which one are you taking? I'll start with Pat.
I'm going to take that opening page spread where you have there's that songbird, and she's kind of like in a shell. And then you have these people kind of just the kinetic energy coming off of that page of them kind of shooting and breaking her little psych cell, I guess. I like that. That's a pretty cool cover or pretty cool page layout.
Not a bad choice. And it just now occurred to me, didn't Kenny G write a song called Songbird? Anyways, with that out of my system for now, let's go to Weasel Skull. Favorite page of art.
Very quickly, as the host, I just want to say that Jared gave you guys a man test and you all failed. Now to you, Jason.
Well, the first time I failed the man test, Delvin. Well, Pat took mine, so I'm going to go to the following page. Well, the one after that, where you've got the full body of Moonstone in the background and Songbird in the foreground. I think that, yes, that's the one. I think that looks really good. And that kind of encapsulates the story very well, I think.
And I'm a wholeheartedly agree with Jason. That was my pick, by the way. Really good art, really good coloring, background work. Nice page. Of course, if you bought it at the con, you wouldn't have the coloring in the back because that's all digital. But still, great rendering. We got to take it home with Delvin's favorite page.
I'm sorry, just for the sake of the joke. Like, for whatever reason, I was thinking Ballad of Ricky Bobby, Talladega Nights, and it's like, why do you have it on a jukebox? It's a test, Like we also have, Pet Shop Boys and Seal. Anyway, I'm going to go to the last page because it was like that good table setter for the next issue where. You got Songbird, looking all like, oh boy, what am I getting myself into? And then you got Moonstone in her costume and Radioactive Man looking all sinister and Swordsman looking, kind of cool like a fake A Hawkeye, but cool nonetheless. So I like that one. That's good. But like, I like the page you guys mentioned too. They're like flipping through that. Like, man, the coloring was awesome. Like there's there was a page like right before it, like where Moonstone and Songbird came back, and there was like a big flash that would have taken out Radioactive Man and the other dude, but Moonstone at that point was back in charge of her Moonstone, so she absorbed all the energy. That page was awesome too. Just a great piece of artwork. So yeah, great job by Tom Grummett overall. So, gentlemen, like we were talking about February 2007. The question that I have for y'all is, does this bring back any special memories for you? I'll go first. February 2007, I was in San Antonio, so I was with Jared. This was right before, I don't want to steal Jared's thunder. I'm sure he's going to mention something about his firstborn being born that year. Maybe not. I know February.
We're safe.
He's born in 06?
Yeah.
I'm off by a year. Okay.
All right.
Like, that's all right. You're right, because I was there in San Antonio and got to see baby Jordan. Yeah, 2 days old. We went get comic books. True story. But I was gone, deployed by the time, and y'all are heading to not Montgomery. No, yeah, you were leaving Texas and heading to Enterprise, Alabama, where you are. In any event. February, like around that time, I kind of made the decision because I thought that my career just was not in a place where I wanted it to be. And so I made the decision to volunteer for a deployment, which is something that I eventually had to go tell my mom about. She was not happy with her baby boy for making that decision. But I'm grateful that I made it for a few reasons. It gave me a perspective on what was going on in Afghanistan that I would not have had before. It helped shape my mentality on a lot of things, and probably more than anything, just understanding that, so a lot of times as Americans, we have our perspective of how the world is. And I got to view a perspective of how the Afghanis viewed us as Americans and the war in general. And I learned a lot. I gained a world perspective that I was very grateful for. Who wants to go next? Jared raises his hand. We're going to go to Jared.
All right. It's easy to roll in since February 2007 was right when I got back from Iraq. And that's when the ball started to roll. Like you said, I started to work my out processing, which had been set up before I left. to leave the Air Force and start a whole new life. So February was an interesting and exciting and transitioning time for me. And there's a lot of things I could talk about from returning from Iraq to San Antonio, but I'll just boil it down to the one thing that I will never forget is spending all those months in Iraq where there's a ton of light discipline. So there's almost no lights on at the base at night. It's almost completely dark, to make it harder for snipers and mortar fire and rocket fire to pinpoint any targets. So it's no light. There's a lot of light discipline at night. And then during the day, I was there during like the cloudy season. Thank goodness for that. I didn't get the hot desert season. I got the cloudy, rainy season. So it was very sort of brown and gray during the day and black at night. And then I came back to San Antonio with all of its city lights and neon. And it felt like I was in the middle of Las Vegas on the strip with my eyelids taped up so I can't close them. I was so overwhelmed by the amount of light and color that it was weird to feel that after being in that other environment for so long. So that's the one weird detail that I will share with our listeners, going from almost no color palette to an extreme color palette. Something I didn't think I was going to get affected by. But man, I just remember riding home from the airport and being like overwhelmed by light and color.
I guess I could pick it up from there because I had gotten out of the Army in 2005 after my deployment to Iraq. So in 2007, I was a 35-year-old college undergrad junior at St. Martin's University. So I'd gone from a military career to college. So I was experiencing the college life like Old Blue there. And what was that movie?
Old School.
Old School. Yeah, I was living the old.
You're my boy Blue.
I was living that life, man. But for me, the transition, it was helpful in that transition. I went to a small college as a Catholic school, Jesuit school. So it was very quiet on campus. And I spent a lot of time at the library and studying. And I think that really helped me kind of transition and go from the helter-skelter world of the military and combat deployments to the civilian life. So it was a good time. And I was kind of in a more peaceful transition at that point.
You beat me to it, Jason. I was going to ask, did you hit the triple Lindy at any point? But you used Old School as a reference.
Back to school.
That's back to school.
Back to school. Yeah, let's go here, my Longfellow.
Yeah, I went Old School. But he went old school. Anyway, Pat, what were your memories from February 2007?
I don't have a lot of, I guess, personal memories. I tried to go back to some pictures and looking at what we got going on coming up as we get to some history notes coming up. This is a time, 2007, my daughter is 8 years old at this time frame. Son is, 4, maybe, probably 4 years old at this time. I did have a son. His name's Carter, just so you guys know. So it's a lot of just family stuff going on, working, and I was probably in and out of comics here when I could get a chance for that extra money. When I took the money out of my kids' mouth so they couldn't eat, and I would just grab that money out of their mouth and say, "No, I'm buying comics," and I would go to the comic store and do what I can with
Good
that.
Good dad, worthwhile.
Definitely. Yep.
Teach those kids priorities.
Mm-hmm. I did. I said, you want something to eat? You want to put food on your plate? You need to go out there and get yourself a job. I don't care. You're 8 years old. You go get a job and you do something with your life. And eventually they did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say not a lot going on in my world besides just parenting. As we talk about the movies going on, I remember sitting around watching it with my daughter. So yeah, that is my exciting life at this time. Just trying to survive parenthood and getting comic books when I could.
It's okay, Pat. You're being a good dad. And being a good dad is something that we all can applaud and appreciate. That brings us to the end of this part in the show. Got a comment or question? Send us an email at contact@longboxcrusade.com or make a comment on Longbox Crusade on X, Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube, and we will be right back.
Do you like the Transformers?
Yes.
Do you like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Do you like IDW Comics?
And comic book podcasts?
Then come check out Ninjas and Bots. Each week we look at an issue of Transformers
or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from their IDW Comics incarnation. We drop episodes every Saturday morning.
Just like the cartoons we loved as a kid. The show can be found on your favorite podcatcher and at johnreadscomics.com.
See you then.
Now it's the time to scan through the featured issue of Thunderbolts 109 from February 2007 for the top ads that stood out to us in a segment called Add It Up.
Add it up. Add it up.
Here are the ads that stand out to us in the issue. Let's go with Pat first. Pat, what ad stood out to you the most in this comic book?
You know, going through this ad, we can definitely tell what kind of superhero season we're in with this one. It is definitely that time of season. But I am going to go with something that I thought was kind of cool, and let me bring it up here, is this Marvel Heroes kind of a racetrack. I don't know if it's Hot Wheels or not, but
I'm pretty sure it's Maisto.
Maisto? Okay.
Mm-hmm. I think they're Maisto cars.
Okay. So they're kind of cool looking, little miniature cars that have superhero Marvel themed vehicles going on, and they got a little Spider-Man racetrack that looks pretty cool as well too. And I like that, just to see concepts of heroes turned into some real world kind of vehicles and how they would do that. And I really think it's cool, just artistically, I guess, is what grabs me, especially like with NASCAR. I'm not a big NASCAR fan, but I like it when the cars are nicely decorated, or the artwork that's done on them are really cool, and that catches my eye. So this caught my eye with these vehicles.
Nice, Pat. Let's move to Jason. Jason, what ad stood out to you?
I'm looking at this Marvel Icons one right here with the bus. I think those look really cool, and I could definitely put a Spidey or a Cap or Wolverine or even a Dr. Doom. He looks cool up on my shelf. So I would go with this Marvel Icons.
I was going to say, didn't you get like a Dr. Doom bust or something like that?
I did. Somebody at Heroes Con, I got a couple of them actually, and I've actually painted several and put them up on my shelf. But they were like this. They were busts, but you painted them. They came, and then they also had like little decals that you could stick on them. They're about this size, though, about the same size, and just a lot of fun. Who'd I get? I got Black Panther. I got Dr. Doom. I got Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman.
See, I like the idea of the bust as well. I have like some shelving space, like in my upstairs, and I started putting heroes, but it was the Marvel PVCs or sometimes the DC PVCs. And so I've had, but they go up to 9 or 10 inches, but I do have a bust or two as well. So the 4-inch bust, I would have wished it was a little bit bigger, but I probably would have put one because that Spider-Man one looks good.
He does look good.
It does, doesn't it? Jared, what ad stood out to you?
Honestly, I was going to take the Maisto cars that Pat picked because we had a ton of those. Jordan had a ton of those growing up, although I have never seen the racetrack. The Spidey racetrack is really cool to see that in the ad. And the comic rigs with the semi trucks that I think you put your cars in them on the bottom. Those are I've never seen those. Tons of Maisto cars, the superhero ones that I found at yard sales and whatnot, but I've never seen those other things. Pretty cool. So I'll just throw in one extra. I thought it was neat. It's the customizable DVD where I think you can send in picture of your kid, and Spider-Man will take his mask off and it's your kid underneath. It's kind of a neat niche market. It's cool to see that DVD technology is they're still playing with it and having fun with it at this time. And DVDs will eventually die out almost everywhere on the planet except at my house.
Oh, I've got some too. Don't you worry. I wonder what I was thinking about that when I was looking at that one too, the DVD. No. If I send in a picture of myself, they pull the mask off, and then would the gut pop out of the bottom of the Spider-Man suit? How realistic is that DVD? I'm wondering.
Pretty sweet tech.
As a host, I would be remiss if I did not say DVD's nuts. I mean, it was too many times to go by, and this is the Longbox Crusade.
Correct.
Pat was correct in that several ads across this comic book featured Spider-Man. So clearly, Spider-Man movie was out. Which one was it? Spider-Man 2 or was it 3?
3.
Spider-Man 3. I was not the biggest fan of Spider-Man 3, but I digress. You know what? For the heck of it, for the fun, I did see the Spider-Man toothbrush. I thought the Spider-Man toothbrush was cool. And was like, yeah, man, like I could see myself using a Spider-Man toothbrush. It was like, yay, I'm brushing my teeth with Spidey. Me as a man in his 40s, I'd still be doing it. And my wife probably looking at me like, have you ever grown up? And it's like, you ever grown up?
I can see you yelling and just, where's my batteries? I need more batteries for these.
The kicker is he's wearing these while he's doing it.
Yes. Pajamas.
Let's not pretend that none of us would like that. We wouldn't wear those Spider-Man, at least the bottoms at a minimum. Like those are kind of sweet.
I literally have Batmans in my size.
Same.
It looks similar to that.
Like as we have, progressed in as men in our upper 40s or into our 50s, like we are just getting eaten up with that nostalgia. I saw a T-shirt today, y'all. It was a Power Rangers T-shirt of like the Black Ranger. It was like Black Ranger, and it was like had Mastodon power on it. And I was like, ah. So, long story short, some Longbox Crusade money is probably going to be going to get me a Black.
I thought you were a Tommy guy. I thought you were a Green Ranger guy all the way.
I was, but I thought about you because I was like, you could say that I got another black superhero in a sense.
All right, I'll ask the question because I didn't watch it. Was the Black Ranger a black dude?
Of course he was.
I wasn't sure because I've seen the Key and Peele skit where he's like the green guy.
In the initial Power Rangers that came to the United States, they were very stereotypical in that the Black Ranger was black, the Yellow Ranger was Asian. I believe she was of Chinese persuasion. The Pink Ranger was, a woman or a female Kimberly. So so they played it stereotypically. That said, that Black Power Rangers t-shirt was sweet. And I would wear it and with much pride and dignity as I had when I was way too old of a kid still watching Power Rangers.
Let's not lie, he was in college, ladies and gentlemen, watching Power Rangers.
Eating cereal and then brushing his teeth with his Spider-Man.
Not quite college. It was high school. I was like 14 or 15. And I remember my mom was like, aren't you too old to be watching this? And I'm like, shut up, Mom. I was not like that to my mom at all. I would not say that to Dame Deborah. But I was like, yeah, I kind of am, but I still going to watch it. Anyway, we already went down memory lane. I don't need to be taking us down there again. Thanks for all of your ad contributions, everybody. And do you have a favorite ad or comment on this section of the show? Let us know. Email us at contact@longboxcrusade.com or comment on the Longbox Crusade Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram page. Now let's continue on to segment 3, called Way Back in Time.
Once again, it is time to take another revealing peek back into history.
What famous date shall I set it to today, Mr. Peabody?
February 2007.
Got it.
We're going to talk about some major news that happened during the time, and we can go clockwise and start with Jared, and he'll start us off with the first major update.
All right, let's start with February 4th. It was Super Bowl XLI, which 41, I believe, is the math on that. It was played at Dolphin Stadium, which, by the way, is not a stadium filled with dolphins. In case you didn't know that. But in Miami, Florida. And it was the Colts versus the Bears. And I think the Colts won that Super Bowl. And
I thought that was 50 though, or 40 XL.
Nope, the Peyton Manning led Indianapolis Colts beat the Rex Grossman led Chicago Bears.
What a big night for me. I had just gotten back from Iraq. my good friend who I'd been deployed with for the first half of deployment, he was with me, and then he got replaced halfway through my deployment. Sergeant Cannon had a party at his house. I was so hoping I'd be back in time to watch the Super Bowl because I'm not a big NFL guy, but I like the Colts because I'm from Indiana, and I like the Bears because where Jason and I would be in South Bend, you really pick up all the Chicago channels out of there. So we'd seen a fair amount of Bears games, as I mentioned in a nostalgia talk when I talked about the NFL. And then more importantly, even though it's not in the notes, the halftime show, it was the Prince show in the rain. Oh my gosh. That's why I couldn't remember who won. I was there for the halftime show. I love Prince, and I was excited. I didn't know how good it would be. Like, I'm just so glad that people who are not me still talk about that show to this day. Like, it makes me feel good to know that's one of the most iconic shows. And I don't have to be biased because he's my guy. But wow. Wowie, wow. And wow.
And wow. Pat.
Well, it takes some news notes from February 11th. The 49th Grammy Awards was held, and here are some winners from that. The Dixie Chicks with their song Not Ready to Make Nice. Carrie Underwood for new artist and female country vocal. I think she's still around right now. And we had Bob Dylan, Mary J. Blige, Red Hot Chili Peppers, all big winners at the 49th Grammy Awards.
Those awards, they don't just give them away now.
No, they don't.
What you got to give it to your mama. What you got to give it to your
Bob Dylan performing?
There you go.
I was wondering.
What you got to get it in you.
And I was going to answer that, yes, they do give him away, Jared. Yeah. Jason, save us from my bad Red Hot Chili Peppers impression.
Oh, mine's a little bland, I think, but here we go. February 19th, the blogging website Tumblr is founded by David Karp in New York. There you go. Tumblr.
All right, and we will now move on to the top 3 movies from February 2007. Number 3 was Bridge to Terabithia. It was a Disney movie, and it made $82 million. Did anyone watch it?
Yes,
I've seen it. It's definitely part of the sort of post Harry Potter, get as many fantasy kids movies out as possible because Harry Potter killed the box office.
Get as many books out there, young reader.
Yeah, Percy Jackson hits this time, and it's all in that window.
Yeah. This actually was a really good movie. I think I own it on DVD. As we talk about DVDs, yep. Thank you. Very good. I remember watching it in the theaters, taking my daughter to see it, and then again watching it on DVD when it came out. So,
Jared, you want to go on number 2 movie?
All right, the number 2 film was Norbit, which I'm highly convinced is an Eddie Murphy film. Yeah. And I feel like I've seen it, but I think this was in that phase where I saw a lot of Eddie Murphy movies, but not a lot of them stuck with me. No slide on them. I mean, I'm always going to love Eddie Murphy, but it's just the Beverly Hills Cop, golden child age of Eddie Murphy.
48 hours.
Yeah, I mean, though that's peak Murphy. Although I will say this, off topic, I don't think I've seen Norbit, maybe. Anyway, the new Beverly Hills Cop movie was very entertaining, and I enjoyed it. This is Jared talking about a movie that came out like in the last year. So everybody mark your calendars. I really thought Beverly Hills Cop 4 was enjoyable.
All right. Well, coming in at number 1 for February 2007, we have Ghost Rider from Sony. Woo! And I believe this was the Nicolas Cage Ghost Rider, the first one that came out. I've never seen it.
So what?
Well, yeah, I don't think this was one that I wasn't a big Ghost Rider fan at the time. And
dude, this was 07. You watched whatever Marvel game,
whatever comic book movie.
I was watching Bridge to Terabithia. I couldn't get.
All right, well, Pat, Jared's opinion, Ghost Rider's okay. I actually like the sequel a little better.
Okay,
but a lot of people poop on it. Like, the Ghost Rider. I was like, suffers from not having the world's best villain. They could have done better on the villain. But other than that, it's fine.
It had like the biggest letdown moment for me because you had the Ghost Rider, Nick Cage's Ghost Rider, and I think it was Sam Elliott as the Western Ghost Rider.
Yes,
and they
horse.
joined forces, and he's like, "Let's ride," and you're like, "Oh, cool! We're gonna have double Ghost Rider action, fighting all these guys," and then they ride in, and then Sam Elliott's Ghost Rider is like, "This is as far as I go."
As far as I go, you're on your own.
What?
You're like, what?
Come on, man! I want to see Sam Elliott Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
So, go ahead, Pat.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I didn't really have much interest in Ghost Rider, and so if it's that bad, I'm gonna say that bad, but obviously it didn't do that bad. It's number one for when it came out, but wouldn't it be a bad podcast to do?
Not at all. No, I could take up for it on many levels. In fact, for 07, by the way, the effects and stuff with the fire and the skulls, it's still pretty good.
It's a good story.
Not bad. Who was the bad guy? Was it Blackheart?
I believe so. I think that's how I remember it.
They could have done. They should have just stuck with Mephisto or. Anyway, aside from that, though, it's got a lot of. It's fun. It's a fun film.
And I think I'm afraid to watch it because then I'm just going to have that segment that Jason made us do when we
born to
raise them.
That's a whole bit.
I did not see the movie myself, not in its whole. So I have a very important question. At any point in the movie, was a MFer kicked off a cliff?
I can't remember. I almost guarantee you there was in Ghost Rider 2, the second one. I remember a dude getting kicked off a cliff.
I just watched it not too long ago with Drake, and yeah, somebody got kicked off a cliff.
Dude got kicked off a cliff in part 2.
Because as we know, sometimes you have to kick an MFer off a cliff.
Well, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Ghost Rider taught us.
Yeah. I mean, that's what you do in Ghost Rider Town. I don't care who you are. Let's move on to the top 3 songs according to Billboard at this time. Where did we leave off?
It's me, but I don't know any of these songs, so I'll just go ahead and throw it out there. Number 3 is "Say It Right" by Nelly Furtado.
Nelly Furtado was not any hotter than she was at this time. She had beats by Timberland. She was like, "Say my name, say it right." That was all the Timberland beats.
Take it away, boys.
Yeah. Oh, you don't mean nothing at all to me. Does anyone else remember the song? Yeah,
I do.
I probably heard it.
I remember that song. Nelly Furtado was hot. She had about a year or two. She was hot. And then all of a sudden, not as much, but that's a musical career. She had at least a year or two. She was hot. That's a year or two more than a lot of people ever will get hot. So there is that. The number 2 song, according to Billboard at this time, was "This Ain't a Scene, It's an Arms Race" by Fall Out Boy.
All right, Fall Out Boy.
I am an arms dealer, fitting you with weapons in the form of words, and don't really care which side wins. As long as the room keeps singing, that's just the business I'm in. Yeah, this ain't a scene, it's a God. Arms race. No,
I get it.
I got it. No, I'm with you. I remember the chorus.
They were big. They're getting big too at this time. Fall Out Boys.
Oh yeah, Fall Out Boy was huge for quite some time. I mean, there's still a known band. I think maybe if you tell Fall Out Boy to the kids might know who Fall Out Boy is. Jared, it's your turn for the number 1 song at this time.
Coming in at number 1. Keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars. It's Beyonce singing "Irreplaceable," which I'm not going to remember until somebody sings it for me.
You must not know about me.
That's all I needed.
Yeah. It was
all the single ladies. All the single ladies. No, not that one.
No, that song's called "Single Ladies." Jason. No, this apparently was her get back song at Jay-Z, like her warning, I heard you might have been stepping out, so don't think I can't get another one of you. That was kind of like,
so his 100th problem did finally get him.
Absolutely. And she made money off of it, with Irreplaceable. Like that was I mean, it's Beyonce. It was a lot of women's anthems for the 2007 timeframe. I was very happy because even though this was 17 years ago, it's still kind of recent, and I was happy that I knew every song in the top three. And AU Kathy's along with us says everything you own in the box to the left. That's like one of the main.
As soon as you drop the little chorus, I got it all up here.
That brings us to the end of this part in the show. Now let's get to the feedback part of the show called Crusader Comments. We are thrilled to kick off these comments with special shout outs to our Crusaders Club members. These are the fine folks that have joined our crusade. They enjoy priority seating as podcast guests, early access to special Longbox episodes, such as this one, voting to help determine show content, backstage access to live recordings, and so much more. These are the folks reaping the benefits and giving some much appreciated support to the show.
And W right.
Ow.
Ow. Ow, I got hit by an arrow.
I was about to say, I got so used to saying her first. He's been there for like 6-7 months now.
Yeah, but still, we're wolf recorded. Yeah, I agree. I totally agree.
We're creatures by habit, definitely. And Helica, woof.
Ow. Auburn Elvis.
Bill Beer.
Billy D.
Bradley DeLoe.
Braxton Underwood.
Carrie.
Clinton Robison.
Captain Entropy.
Clark Westfield.
Dave Collins, come down on him.
Dave texted me as we were recording, told me to tell you guys hi. I told him no, but I guess I did. Eric Hodges.
Eric Porter.
Ezra Gallo.
Gary V. Oh, wait.
Gary V.
Say it again. Sorry.
Pat, what are you doing? Gary V.
Gary V.
Gary V.
We all get around on Gary V. All right. Gene Hendricks.
George Meal.
Gary V.
I knew it.
I was going to do it.
Gerald Green.
Heinz K.
Jason Keene.
Jason Lady.
Jeff Polier.
Jeremy L.
Jim. Jumpin'. I hope you like Jim Jaman too.
Jim Meal.
Joe Man Conan.
Joe Thomas.
John Watson.
Josh Strickland.
Candace Ward.
Kathy Bright, the MVP, joining us live in the chat.
Matt and Lizzie Passo.
Mark Ross, joining us in the chat.
Maxwell Traver.
Michael Minton.
Miranda W.
P to the D to the Devons.
Paul Hicks.
Rick of Jeff and Rick Present.
Ronald Easterday.
Rob Morgan.
Samantha Maney.
Sean Urbanski.
Spidey 67.
Spreadsheet.
Steve Cronin.
Tim Price.
Tony Pennington.
And the Toronto Cop.
If we missed anyone on our list, we apologize. Please keep in mind that we record these episodes well in advance of release, so if you're a recent addition, we should be adding you soon. But still, no worries. Just let us know that we missed you by sending an email to contact@longboxcrusade.com. We'll get it straightened out. As a reminder, you can become a Crusaders Club member by heading over to patreon.com/longboxcrusade for as little as $1 a month. You'll get access to the amazing world of the Crusaders Club. Come join us. And if you don't have any extra scratch lying around, but you still want to help us out here at LBC headquarters, take a moment to write a review on whatever platform you're listening on. Or especially give us a YouTube subscription. Costs you $0. And be sure to join us there for live episodes. You can call us and leave us a voicemail that we'll play on the show right here. Leave us a message at 707-532-5269. That's 707-532-LBOX.
Pick up the phone to the left. Pick up the phone to the left on the left.
Shake that CLZ. Shake that CLZ. You see how I blended in with that? Like, like who needs a DJ? Who needs a DJ Cristados? We all do. I'm kidding, Pat. We need you. We love you.
What?
We need you and love you. I already said it. You're good. You're good. Calm down. Thanks to everyone for the likes, shares, follows, and comments. We appreciate your friendship and your help in spreading the word about this podcast. And ladies, gentlemen, that is the show. Be sure to check out the website longboxcrusade.com, where posts will be made for journaling this crusade. I want to thank my friends Pat, Jared, and Jason for joining me on this episode. But before we go, the listeners are dying to know where you all are found. Let's start with Jason.
You can find me at Jason Albrick on Instagram and Facebook. How about you, Delvin?
You can find me on, let's see, where are my Threads and Instagram, Delvin Ray. Look for me there. Pat.
Well, Delvin, I'm glad you asked. You can find me on the X at Christatos01. Jared, where can you be found?
I am at Yard Sale Artist on X, Facebook, and Instagram. Shout out to Kathy in the live chat with a very funny comment saying, knowing the orders of the Crusader Club members is like knowing the order of the songs compilation album commercials of the 80s.
Hey, man, is awesome. That Freedom Rock? Is that LBC crew members?
Well, turn it up, man. Thank you all for listening, and we hope you enjoyed this episode of the Longbox Crusade. You got questions or comments? Email us at contact@longboxcrusade.com or leave a comment on the Longbox Crusade Facebook, Instagram, or X, Twitter, page at Longbox Crusade. Until next time, take care. And please join us for the next episode as we continue on the crusade to
read them all. Read them.
Read them all.
The intro music is provided by musical genius Joe November.
Check out his SoundCloud at JOSEFLIN99. You won't regret it.
All songs, song clips, and characters discussed are copyright of their respective copyright holders, and no infringement is intended. We are just fans that like to share our love of comics.
Outtakes.
You're listening to the Longbox Crusade podcast. Episode is 98, right? Wait, who put 98?
It's 89, Delvin. Sorry.
This is episode 49.
49. Is it 89? I'm so, we podcast about it.
There's not an 8 in there.
Off to a banger start.
We'll start again. Oh, no one's going to stop me because everyone's on mute. I'll stop myself. Hello.
Sorry. You got me going.
We've all listened to the show. That's good.
I prefer maybe we do it by, instead of nightsticks, we do beef sticks and we snap into them.
Sure.
Yeah, you do that. Add it up. See what you got. You got to add it up. I'm the only one that's going to sing it. Fine. I'll sing along. I don't care.
I danced. I did like a whole dance thing.
I appreciate it. I didn't see it. I'm looking at the script.
I will start at the very beginning because this was a big.
Hold on. Wait. So take me away. I don't mind, but you gotta promise me I'll be back in time.
A lot of energy for a 4-day podcast, right?
I slept very well. I got to bed early.
Did we miss anyone? I should pass it to somebody. Everybody went, right?
No, we got everybody. Okay. We're just too busy playing grab. Oh, let's see. All right, here we go.
Oh, well done. Well done. Thank you, Mark and Kathy, for joining us tonight in the behind the scenes. Make sure you tell everybody how awesome it was when they missed out.
I'm holding on the rope, got me 10 feet off the ground. It's like he came out with like 8 songs like that, and they were all bangers, though. Like, I mean, they've got to give Timberland credit.
Good thing. Yeah.
he had a good thing. He's like, I'm just going to throw this little ad lib in and people are going to love it. I'm glad you enjoy it, Mark. Legitimately. I mean, it's kind of fun letting people see us be idiots and seeing how the sausage is made because we actually care about the sound quality and stuff. It started with Pat because Pat was the original one who was doing all the shows. And then he's like, I am literally about to keel over and die. So Jared took the mantle and started cleaning and editing some shows. And then now all of us have a hand in at least cleaning. And then I took over for Transformers Chronicles. And I've done most of the editing for the last year or so, basically, while John and Maggie have been out. So we care about the sound quality of the show. We make it a point of pride. So
that's his way of saying it'll sound better. It'll sound better later. I swear to God.
It will.
When we level it.